The way Texas looked was changing too. Once unbroken vistas across the state now bore the gunmetal-colored scars of railroads. Naked wooden poles stood alongside, festooned with wires carrying the busy conversations of a growing population. The endless open spaces of Texas had been broken up into smaller holdings, with barbed wire fences changing the way people saw the land. What had once been wild and native had become tamed, changed. Technology had conquered geography. Rivers had once been the boundaries of the natural provinces of Texas, each one a barrier, a pausing point where travelers had to gauge a solution for their journey to continue. By the end of the century, railroads crossed these Texas waters atop high trestle bridges, and travelers needed only to contemplate the waters rolling many feet below as scenic, but of little consequence. The natives of Texas had also disappeared as a distinct people. The survivors of the indigenous inhabitants of the state had either entered the shadowlands of history or remained, diminished, on government lands far away from their original homes. Animals were also different. The buffalo, which once blackened the plains by the thousands, were largely gone. Their skeletons, left on the prairie after the slaughter, for a while had provided a source of income for hard-pressed settlers in West Texas and the Panhandle. Massive piles of sun-bleached bones rose near railroad tracks. Buyers back east bought these remnants for use in products ranging from buttons to bone meal, until even these reminders of the buffalo were gone. Early settlers in Texas remarked on the howl of wolves near their cabin doors. By the 1890s, the Mexican gray wolf was headed toward extinction in the Lone Star State, and his mournful cry was no longer part of the Texas experience. Mountain lions remained, but receded into the hard country where people rarely went. Bears, too, once roamed the state, but they also went into the lonely places where they could remain unbothered. Longhorn cattle had once brought prosperity to poor Texans short on cash but long on courage. They remained, but only as a rare and unvalued curiosity. Stocky, beefy cattle with short legs and horns now covered the state. Windmills, bringing up groundwater to slacken the thirst of these penned animals, now towered over Texas pastures. Soon, too many cattle grazed on too little grass, and the ancient, rippling, tall grass prairies became close-cropped and brushy. Nature added its strokes to the changing canvas of Texas. A hurricane finished off the town of Indianola in 1886, and in 1900, the Galveston Flood, also called the Great Storm of 1900, swept across Galveston Island with a 15-foot storm surge, nearly erasing that important city while killing thousands of its inhabitants. Houston, which had already dredged a deep channel to its docks to lure ships in from the Gulf, began in earnest to build what would become the Houston Ship Channel, transforming the city into one of the world's leading ports. Heavy machinery widened and straightened Buffalo Bayou, gobbling away at the banks as they went. Parts of Sam Houston's historic San Jacinto campsite, as well as Lorenzo de Zavala's homestead and gravesite, vanished into the churning mud.